Hi guys, how's everyone doing here today? And thank you for watching. And I wanted to talk about something I call the haves and the have-nots. This is based on an article I read a while back, which, believe it or not, was written by a police officer who chose to remain anonymous. And this was doing a lot of the fallout that was happening during the George Floyd protests and, issues with police brutality. I'm not here to talk about that. But in the article, he discusses policing, and he brings up a rather interesting scenario which kind of stayed with me. How ways of preventing crime, not just by increasing the number of police, but also by addressing some of the issues that cause the crime. Because for the most part, when he would be called to a particular crime scene, the crime had already been committed, like whether it was a burglary or a robbery or vandalism, that sort of thing. And, he's just pretty much taking the statement. Nothing that requires use of force or firearm. But to get to the point, he described a scenario where you had a certain town or a location. I kind of worked up on it a little bit. So, you have one location, one town, which is very well off. Everybody is gainfully employed. They have a good living wage. They have good schools to go to and everything. There's very little crime. There's a strong police force. And, the infrastructure is in good shape too. Everyone's living rather comfortably. There's some crime, yes, but for the most part, it's a relatively safe neighborhood to be in. It's very prosperous. And then miles away, there's another town, which is not so prosperous, where, there's a lot of unemployment. People are struggling to pay bills and everything because they don't make enough money. Some of them work multiple jobs. Kids aren't getting properly educated because of lack of funding in schools. Some of them can't even afford college. Therefore, you get a lot of dropouts. And there's a considerable amount of crime going on. From burglaries, robberies, carjackings, and gang violence. Now, here's some programs that have been proposed in the past, and let's say you were to slowly initiate these in this town. We'll call them the have-nots. The other town I described, the good one, you have the haves and the have-nots. In the have-nots, we start with healthcare for all. Medicare for all, whatever you want to call it. I know some of the name carries a stigmata. How you feel about it is besides the point. The point is, we introduce a certain program that makes sure everybody in that town, the have-nots, now has health care. If they didn't have it through their jobs, or they were unemployed, they're covered. Whether it's somebody single or somebody with a family, a spouse and one or more children. Their family is covered. Anybody gets sick, anybody gets injured, they're in good shape. They won't be in any type of medical debt. Lowering the cost of prescription drugs. Again, that also falls under healthcare, making it easier to get certain medications, like if somebody's a diabetic or a medication that's usually pretty costly is now, reduced in price, so it's way more affordable. Infrastructure. You pay the roads, bridges, the structure surrounding area, so it's a much nicer area. It's much safer. $15 minimum wage. Now everybody who gets a job, whether it's somebody out of high school or college or, can easily start having a living wage to start with and build on it from there. People are making more money. Easier to pay the bills. Canceling student debt. If there are any students that are in debt, that debt gets canceled out. Maybe not completely, but enough of it so they're not struggling as much. It's easy for them to pay off and build their career. Mental health care. That technically falls under, free health care or Medicare for all, but I'm just noting that out there as well. So if there's anybody in that town that has mental health issues, they get what they need, whether it be, like at-home therapy or treatment, or they're in an institution where they're being, properly cared for, getting the medication and the therapy that they need. They're more comfortable. less issues with mental health, which we hear a lot about. Gun reform, banning assault weapons, which contributes to a lot of crimes and shootings in this area. So when you start combining all that, what starts to happen? And this is the point that this police officer made in his article, is that, you know, it's not so much the crime itself, it's why they're committing the crime. Hate crimes are one thing, but not everybody commits crimes out of hate. But if everybody's living comfortably, if all their needs are being met, you know, they're able to take care of themselves, sustain themselves and their families, there's no motivation to commit crime. There's no motivation to burglarize or steal or rob people. A kid who's doing well in school and is educated and goes to college, how many of these kids are gonna at one point just say, hey, I think I'll join a gang? None of them. That's the whole point. You start initiating programs. So instead of having the haves and the have-nots, you have the haves and you have the have-mores. The have-mores, people of wealth. Guess what? We all can't be making the same, equal income. Yeah. Would it be nice to be wealthy? Yeah, that'd be pretty great. But guess what? There's a lot of people I knew, up to and including myself, who have no designs on being filthy rich. I don't need to be a millionaire, let alone a billionaire. As long as I have a job, I have health care, that I can take care of my family, that there's always a roof over my head, with food on the table, and I'm able to pay the bills each month with little or no issue, I'm fine with that. I don't need to be filthy rich or need to indulge myself in a fancy car. The way I used to put it is, I don't need a Mercedes or a mansion, to be happy. I'm quite happy having a reasonable income and being able to just enjoy life, as would most people out there. They just want to be able to take care of themselves, take care of their families, see their kids through college, and that sort of thing. Now, some people may look at this on a whole and think like, oh, this is just socialism, democratic socialism. It's no good, it ain't gonna work. These are some of the same people that when you say tax cuts for the wealthy, oh, then they line right up. Nobody asks about costs or anything. What I just outlined is not some kind of fantasy. It's history, it's reality. Not in the United States, but in other countries, it's happening. Some people I've criticized me think it's like Venezuela. No. Think of countries along the lines like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands. And realistically, I don't think this is all going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time to implement these programs. But when you elect the right people to do the right things, who are actually serving the American people, and not catering, to the wealthy, to, their corporate donors, you can see changes like this. You can solve some of the problems. And most of all, some of the programs I've outlined, some of the policies I mean, they are popular in America. They show that most Americans, both red and blue states, approve of them. And like I said, I don't expect it to happen right away, but little at a time, like we saw right now at the start, where Biden has expanded on the Affordable Care Act and canceled student debt. His approval ratings went up. Yes, when you do the right thing by the people actually like you, your approval ratings go up. And when it's time for a re-election, midterms, they will vote for you, because they say, this guy is doing the job. So, what I would suggest with the midterms coming, whoever you have in mind to vote for, I'm not going to go through, lists of candidates or anything like that. But I will say this, if you have a candidate that has a proven track record, who you can look back in the recent, the past few years and see that he's made certain accomplishments that have actually helped people, whether it directly impacted you in a positive way or not. But the fact is, they're on the right track. They're doing their job. They're servicing, Americans, not just in their state, but on the country as a whole. They vote on policies that help Americans, and not just, a small percentage of the wealthy out there. those are the people you should be voting for. And not to make it about party, but I will tell you this much from what I've seen in the past. The primary seven things that I've listed, 6 of them Republicans have voted against. That's not to say they all didn't make it through. Some did make it through, like the infrastructure, that Biden pushed. Republicans, either all or primarily, voted against all these programs, which begs the question, who the hell are they serving if they're not serving us, if they're not serving the American people? If you got a candidate that all they know how to do is gaslight and just make up things or spread lies and hate speech in order to, pit you against their opponent just so they can get themselves into power. If you got some Republicans saying, I don't care if you put Bozo the Clown in the Senate, we want control. Those are people that are only interested in power. Okay? Those are the people that want to have, and they want you to not have, or be the have-nots. In other words, for me, but not for thee. Those are the people you want to vote against. And make no mistake, as I've said in previous videos, some of them have already talked about continuing to strip away rights, to make cuts to Medicare, to Social Security. So down the road after the elections, you vote for the wrong people, and you find more and more rights being stripped away. You find some of the things that you had that benefited you are suddenly being, being cut down. In the end, you only have yourself to blame. The midterms are coming up. Please get out and vote. Vote for the right candidates. Don't make it into a popularity contest. Don't, vote for somebody because they're gaslighting or spreading lies or conspiracy things. Don't get, distracted by voter fraud and other bogus claims that they make up. Focus on the candidates that have the proven track record. Focus on the facts. Please, for yours and your family's sakes. I hope you understand. Anyway, thank you for watching.